Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Cropper here. I've been watching Jordan Peterson and Sam Harris, and they've had their recent discussion. I'm keeping up on them because they seem to be the most adult people in the room outside the objectivist camp. And oddly, I heard one of them mention objectivism and objectivists generally, and the other said something about it, and they went back and forth, and one of them said something like, yeah, those guys really like ideas. So I hope that he met some smart objectivist who said, oh, you're being a bit about intrinsicism or something, gave Jordan Peterson a little heads up about something. But I think Sam Harris has given him a pretty good run for his money. However, I did want to point out one thing where Jordan Peterson, who's generally very good and very right about a lot of stuff, he's just overblowing the importance of religion. I think what happened was he was in academia, comfortable for 20 or 30 years, and he woke up one day and the nonsense that had been going on around him that he just wasn't worried about because he was comfortable, that was coming home to roost. And all of a sudden he had to deal with this nonsense, Kantian subjectivist nonsense that he hadn't been too worried about too much before it came flying in his face. And so, I mean, he wasn't just born anew out of Zeus's forehead the day that this political correctness came to him, because he has a history of saying things. But I think that he woke up and he said, what is there that's an antidote to this craziness? Oh, religion, Christianity. And he figured out a way to rationalize Christianity. It's a shame that I'm sure he had objectivism available to him and never could do anything or touch it. But he is right about happiness. He says it better not be the purpose of your life, because that's really shallow, and happiness is very rare and it doesn't last. But Howard Rourke said that in The Fountainhead. He said, there are these long, difficult things. Like Howard Rourke was standing there watching a truck full of granite struggle up a hill to a construction site. And he thought, this moment is what a lot of the struggle is for. So years of struggle, 5 minutes of enjoyment. Howard Rourke knew that, which is Ayn Rand. So Jordan Peterson's a little late to the party. We can have ethics with happiness as our goal. Aristotle showed that anything you want is because you want happiness. If you want pride or wealth or esteem in the community or whatever, it's because it makes you happy. Happiness is the only thing we don't save up. We save up other things so that we can get happiness, or we prolong getting other things. So he's right about that. Now, he went on about a 5-minute thing, which I have a poem for. His 5-minute thing was showing that we are just evolved creatures, and so we do what we do. Richard Dawkins wrote a book called The Selfish Gene, and The Blind Watchmaker is also a very good book, sort of on this subject, on the side of this subject. But this subject is happiness, generally, and how we attain it, or if it's difficult to obtain. And so here's the poem, very short poem, which does what Richard Dawkins did in a book and Jordan Peterson does in, say, a lecture, or 10 or 20 minutes of a lecture. If happiness is difficult obtained, recall the reason humans are so strained. As Darwin pointed out, we are evolved to reproduce. No further problem solved. So happiness is the 5 minutes out of a 2-year struggle or something like that. And also, as Howard Rourke says, the pain only goes down to a certain point. So there we go. Jordan Peterson's correct about that. Sam Harris and Jordan Peterson are doing a pretty good job. Sam Harris, bit of a Buddhist, like Hitchens said about him, and he's right. But they're struggling through, and objectivists should be watching this, because we're going to be dealing with objectivism is a long-term thing that isn't going to change too much, but the culture's changing. So we're going to be dealing with the repercussions and the results of whatever these guys are doing. And these guys right now are hashing out the next 10 or 20 years of the zeitgeist in the Western world. The Democrats are a disaster, and to the extent that they take control of anything, they're going to burn it down the way they did Soviet Russia, Nazi Germany, Imperial Japan. Anytime that type of people take control of something, they burn the whole thing down. And so the Democrats, you may say they're taking control of this and that and the other. Yeah, but they're going to burn it all down. They're burning Europe down. That's happening more and more. All right, there we go. I think I've said what I needed to. That poem, by the way, is by me. Did I mention that? That poem I wrote, yeah. If happiness is difficult obtained, recall the reason humans are so strained. As Darwin pointed out, we are evolved to reproduce. No further problem solved. That's why you fall in love, you have sex, and you have babies, and that's just about all that our genes really do. They give you a few years, get the kid up to 5 or 8 or 10 years old, and then kick him the hell out in the bushes, you know, or make him start working for his living, and he could be part of the clan or whatever it is, you know. But Jordan Peterson's right about a few things. He's right about that, and I wanted to give him that poem. So if anybody has his email, send that to him.